I'm Daryl Jones, Director of Research at Hedgeye Risk Management. I'm here with my colleague, Matt Hedrick, who runs our Staples Research Group. We're here to talk about a new best idea that we've put on our best ideas list. Lorillard, it's a diversified tobacco company, ticker's LO. We're going to have Matt walk us through the thesis. And I guess the first part of the thesis, Matt, is just the dynamic between menthol and non-menthol that's going on in the marketplace.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll back up and sort of, describe the company a little bit.
Yep.
So Lorillard is the third largest U.S. cigarette tobacco company.
Okay.
It's around 15%. They're the number one menthol player in terms of market share, and the number one e-cig player with Blue.
Okay. With
brand Blue. The dynamics we're seeing in the market is really menthol taking share versus non-menthol.
Right.
And it turns out that Lorillard's portfolio is over-indexed to menthol. 75% of sales are in menthol, and 85% of profits are in menthol. So it's a big deal, the broader trends we're seeing in the market.
So that Lorillard versus the rest of the industry has a much bigger, I guess, menthol portfolio, and then menthol is growing as a part of the market.
That's right. I think Lorillard has around 40% share of menthol.
Okay. And then, I guess another thing that you've looked at is the regulatory risk related to menthol. Is that something investors should be worried about in the short term, or what were your conclusions on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge concern. Investors we speak with.
Yeah.
I think the issue, though, is it's a misplaced concern. We've done some work with a law firm that helped substantiate some of our conclusions. What we really came to is that in the next 1 to 2 years, we don't see any regulatory risk, and then over the long term, likely not any either.
Okay.
There's some points on that I'd be happy to get into as well.
Yep, that sounds good. And then the next thing, obviously, which is a big growth engine for the industry, is e-cigs. I guess where do you see that market going in terms of market share of the entire tobacco market? I think you said earlier, tobacco market's about $800 billion globally. Where is e-cigs now, and where can e-cigs go over the next 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, that's right. I guess today they're about a 1-point share, so very small. We really see e-cigs as a huge growth opportunity, though, and really for all of big tobacco. What's interesting is that Lorillard was sort of first out of the gate with their acquisition of Blue back in 2012.
Yep.
And so we really think that they'll have first mover advantage. But sizing up the market, if we look out to 2018, we see e-cig sales around $50 billion.
Yep.
On an $800 billion market, that's a pretty small number, around 4 or 5%.
Yep.
But we see the growth just really ballooning.
Yep. And then I guess breaking that down into the company, what does that do to the company in terms of their, I guess, revenue, the revenue side of their income statement? E-cigs, presumably, if they can keep share, would be a big part of their business going forward. Yeah,
I think if we stick with the 2018 target,
yep.
Blue can contribute, upwards of 30% of the EPS.
Yep.
So what we really see is, the e-cig side taking the overall growth of the whole company, including the base, much higher, something like from around 11% to 18%. And that's also another reason why we think the multiple of the stock should be taking up, and we really see a very favorable, risk reward in the price of Lorillard.
Yep. And then so we I guess added it just recently to our best ideas list, but the stock has actually had a big pop.
Yeah.
Do you still think there's more upside, though, I presume?
Oh yeah, we're seeing upside into $80. But you're right on the pop. There was a lot of news that Reynolds was considering buying Lorillard. There's also last week some e-cig news.
Yep.
About a capital infusion in Enjoy, a private e-cig maker. So
okay.
I think that's a lot of the pop you're seeing, but yeah, we see plenty more upside from here.
Gotcha. So just to summarize, Lorillard, we added it to our best ideas list. Ticker's LO. 2 big things for us are, number one, menthol. They're the market share leader in menthol, and we think that they can continue to gain share, and menthol will continue to gain share as a percentage of market. Then the big growth engine really is e-cigs. Once again, they have one of the top brands in e-cigs, and e-cigs is growing about 18% per year for the company, and we think that could accelerate. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet Matt at Hedgeye Staples. That's at Hedgeye Staples on Twitter. Thanks.